I'm not Tom, and I'm here to show you one of the recipes from the Old Man's Café at Home, as found at tomscafeph.com. Today, lap cheong and salted fish fried rice.
I'm going to make the fried rice. Now, I know that you tend to think of fried rice as being very much a kind of leftovers dish, and it is insofar as the rice is normally left over. But everything else that goes in it is cooked to order quickly when you need it, because that's the nature of Chinese-style frying. One of the things we're going to put in here is not what you might imagine as being a typical Chinese ingredient, but actually it is. And that's salted fish. Now, salted fish is very popular in Scandinavia. It's very popular in all kinds of cuisine. And in Southeast Asia, you tend to find it in fish sauce, Thai fish sauce, for example. And those are very salty, very bitter. And so the flavour is something that you will already be familiar with. But you won't often have seen salted fish like this. And you should, because it's nice. It adds an extra dimension to the flavour as against using a soy sauce-based fish. Okay, some oil into a cold pan. I'm using my Maya pans. These pans are I bought these. There's three of them, different sizes. But this is obviously the frying pan. I bought these in the 1980s, and they're still perfectly good pans. I use them all the time. One of the great advantages is they have very heavy bases, as you can possibly see. Can you see? Yes. Turn the thing around so I can see what you can see. And under here, this base is really quite thick. So that means that the pan doesn't distort, unlike most modern pans where the pan not only distorts, but you end up with a raised bit in the middle. And that means that when you're trying to fry in it, all the oil and everything else disappears out around the outside. So your main hot spot is in the middle of the pan, but the frying can't take place there. So a good heavy base pan like this is good. As I said, this is Meyer, M-E-Y-E-R, and I've been using this actual pan for 40 years. And as you can see, it looks perfectly fine. Okay, so we've tossed some red pepper in. We're going to toss some chili. And although you'll think of this as being a Chinese dish, to be honest, this isn't really very Chinese at all, in that it's so many different types of Chinese and generic Oriental that it will be difficult to establish that it belongs to any particular cuisine. Red onions. These little red onions are a pain to work with, but they're nice, they're sweet, and so it's worth having them. If you go to a supermarket and you see the big red onions, they're fine. But unlike the white onions, they're not so astringent. You can actually nibble on these if you want to. They're quite, well, they're sweet. They're not vicious. So we want little bits. You'll notice that I still haven't turned any heat on in that pan. It's still just sitting there, waiting to have stuff done to it. And I'm going to make enough for 2 people here. I've got pre-cooked rice, which is about a bowl's worth, which you would think would be what you'd have for one person. But the vegetables are like this, then you'll find that you don't have a lot of rice. And the great thing about that is you're not having a lot of calories. And white rice is generally derided as being a significant reason for diabetes. People who eat rice 2 or 3 times a day apparently are at very high risk. I'm not making any such claims. I'm not trying to pretend that we're doing anything with a dietary intent. But we all need a few less calories and things, don't we? Time to time. Okay, that's just going to sit there for a second while I go and get some ginger. There's a big debate over whether you should peel ginger. Some people do.
Welcome to the Old Man's Café. Today, tomorrow, and every day, at home.
which I use a lot, but not in dishes like this because I want the flavour to come out of this dried ginger. Okay, here we have the last few little dried prawns. France, they'd be called crevette. They're quite salty, so we're not going to be adding salt to this dish later. And there's a piece of salted fish. Skin off it. In. And there's a bone here because I can feel it. Take out the bone. Bones in salted fish are incredibly strong. If you stick one in your finger, it hurts. You definitely don't want it in your food, and you definitely don't want it in your mouth. So make sure you find any bones that are in salted fish, take them out. Will inevitably have a small amount of fish left on them. You can't cook the fish and then take the bones out, as you can in lots of other recipes. Okay, salted fish down into tiny bits. Why such tiny pieces? Because A, it's very strong and we don't want a whole mouthful of salted fish later. And secondly, because we can spread it throughout the dish more successfully while we're cooking. Okay, Chinese sausage. This has got a proper name, which I can never remember. It's kind of like chorizo, but without the spices. And it's very nicely flavoured. It's cured. Although it tends to terrify most people. You can actually eat raw. As I do. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that in case somebody doesn't. I'm just not poisoned. Okay, forget to say that. And one of the reasons we put this in early, you might think, as it's cured and as it's got lots of fat in it, we don't need to put it in early. Well, actually, we do because the skin is always very tough, and so by putting it in early, then we get the skin softens. Okay, a bit of tidying up going on here. Wander off to the fridge and put some stuff away. Right, so we're going to put some heat on here now. Not a massive amount of heat. We're going to use 7.5 out of 10. And we'll get round to adjusting that a little bit later. Now, so far nothing at all is happening, is it? Peel the cabbage. Why do I peel cabbage? Because if you cut it, then it bleeds. If you peel it, then the outside leaves you're taking off are always fresh. And more importantly, the inside leaves stay fresh. So it might seem like it's a bit of an effort. But yeah, cabbage is something, historically, we would keep cabbage as a winter vegetable. So we know it lasts for a long time in cold climates. So this particular cabbage is 2 weeks in the fridge. And you see, still nice and crispy. That's fine. And I'm going to add that later, so just going to get the cabbage ready later. Chop chop, chop, chop. Okay, now we've got the smell of the salted fish coming out very solid, as it's supposed to. Good. Don't worry that it smells really strong. That smell will move, for want of a better expression, as we cook other things. I'm going to make a space. So that's going to continue to cook there. And we're going to put an egg. Use the egg to do its thing for a minute or two. And I'll break it up. We're going to cook this and take it out and add it back later. Well, we could have cooked it first, but then that would have meant I've got a hot pan for the vegetables in it, which I was avoiding doing. So, how are we doing? Any ideas? Oh, like it. Click the little button that says like. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I know this is a new channel, but you can see when I'm recording this. But over time, the more subscribes and likes there are, the more that helps me know exactly what's working. I can tell you that I have another channel which is about financial crime. And I started this channel only yesterday. And it's the very first video I put up yesterday, which is the what was I doing in the video yesterday? Go on, somebody tell me. Anyway, the first video I put up had more visitors overnight on the on this first night than any other video has ever had in the first 24 hours for all my financial crime stuff, which is famous for. So if this channel can continue at that pace, I'm going to be delighted. Okay, lots of vegetables going now. And now with more vegetables and we can increase the heat. It needs a bit more heat in the middle because you're going to add some water. The secret about stir frying is that you don't actually fry that much. You fry a little bit, soften things up, and you get the flavour instant. But then the bulk of the cooking is done by waiting until everything is heated through, waiting for the flavour to move, then adding a little bit of water. Get that in a minute. So let's stick the rice on top of this, just so it's in the pan. Might as well be there. Spring onions for garnish later. Ready before I need it. What the French call it? Mise en place. In English, we'll just call it having everything ready. So we're going to add a little bit of water because it helps everything smooth. Mix that in. Add a little bit of soy sauce. We're adding this for flavour, not for saltiness. Soy sauce does add a very specific flavour to things. Well, basically three sorts of soy sauce. This is light soy sauce. There's dark soy sauce, and then there's mushroom soy sauce. Some people, when they have mushroom soy sauce, go, horrible. It isn't. It's just differences. The reason they say that is because they are so used to having only light soy sauce, because it's what they're used to. When they find a mushroom soy sauce, because it tastes of mushrooms, they think it's weird. I haven't put any Chinese mushrooms in there. Tried shiitake mushrooms rather, just because I didn't do it. There's no reason not to do it. They add flavour, but because I've got so much, I've got salted fish and I've got the café. It seems to me that adding yet another flavour to it would create confusion in taste buds rather than simply. Okay, so we're going to break the egg up. So that's up. Leave it to heat through a little bit so that the rice dries out slightly. And one last, my favourite little trick to do with fried rice. Let's take that with the last minute. Notice that I keep disappearing. And the reason I keep disappearing is because this is the cooking kitchen. The prep kitchen is next door. And that's where there is a fridge in here. But a lot of the storage is in the next room. That's where the prep gets done. Again, in the next room because that's where the prep gets done. And the reason that the cooking here, doing all the prep here, is quite simply that I can't put cameras and mic up 2 rooms. Not so much I can't do it. So I've got this into a plate, and now the treat. I know that you can look at it and say, oh, but that's burnt. Well, it is. Here's the secret. This burnt stuff, it's got tons of flavour in it. And even if I don't put it on the dish, the dish I'm serving on, I still want to eat it. Because it really does have masses of flavour. Put this onto this big spoon. And then do one more little trick. A little bit of water. A little bit of water in that pan. That then loosens up everything that's stuck in the pan. There's all burnt bits. Can't do this if you're using a coated pan. You only do this if you're using a proper stainless steel pan like this. And one of the interesting things is that it depends on where you live. You see this spatula? It's got a straight edge. And that's because in Western cookery we use flat pans. But if you get a spatula out in the Far East, you get a curved edge. And the reason for that is they use a wok, and that works better in the curved bottom of the wok. So we have to end up ordering some of our kitchen tools from the UK and sending them over, just so that we can get the right shape, the right shape spatula. Okay, leave that sit there. Take the spring onion, sprinkle it over the top. And here we have salted fish and Chinese sausage fried rice, which is in shot now.
Welcome to the Old Man's Cafe. Today, tomorrow, and every day. At home.